Good day to all of you. I'm Dr. Ganesh. Welcome to another chapter of Eat for Health. Today, I'm going to talk about a topic of great importance and also of great concern with a worldwide prevalence. Let me talk about a case scenario first. This is about a man, or it's a man or a woman. He's in his age is around 40s to 50s, an office worker. So very routine life, right? Work, home, sleep, and just like most people do. So and of course, very little exercise. So and he let's say it's a he takes his breakfast in the morning, cup of coffee, some bread, and the following day perhaps he'll have roti canai for breakfast, and the day after perhaps he'll have some fried noodles or nasi lemak for breakfast with his coffee, and perhaps with some fried egg. So this is his regular breakfast: bread, biscuits, nasi lemak, fried noodles, and lunch perhaps he might have a mixed rice, our typical Malaysian diet, and he may have some laksa at times. He may have some chicken rice at another time, and for dinner he might have some maybe some mee goreng, or he might have some fast food, or maybe he might just have just a piece of bread. So if you can see, his typical diet is very low in vegetables, right? Very low in vegetables and fruits. And he goes back home, he watches TV. While watching TV, he might snack on some potato chips or some crackers and go to bed. And the same thing the next day and on. So, and he's overweight, okay, 15 to 18 kilos of his normal weight. And one fine day he started getting some shoulder pains, neck pains, and then he thought it was nothing to worry about. Then weeks went by, and then he started getting numbness over his hands, and then he started getting dizziness at times. Then he realized when he sleeps, he's not having regular sleep. He's getting up in between at nights and urinating. He has to go to toilet at least 8 to 10 times at night. Daytime perhaps he has to go for another 8 to 10 times. So he's wondering, and it is something not normal in his body is happening, and he's getting tingling sensation sometimes, stiffness, cramps, back aches, body aches, and he's eventually feeling weak. So he decides, I have to see a doctor. So he makes an appointment with the doctor. So he goes and sees the doctor, and he explains to the doctor that he's been having this numbness, tingling feeling, dizziness at times. Doctor checks his pressure is okay, and he said he's been urinating a lot and also feeling thirsty a lot. And then the doctor says, I think I'll just do your blood sugar. The doctor asked him, when's your last meal? He said, I had it about 4 hours ago. I just drank water, I didn't take anything. So the doctor checked, his sugar was 16.8. So, and he was shocked. The doctor told him, tells him and said, you're diabetic, your sugar is very uncontrolled. I said, how can that be? So today's topic is what we are going to talk about, this global notorious disease of mankind, diabetes. This disease is of global prevalence. In fact, WHO statistics shows since 1980, in 1980 there were recorded 108 million worldwide diabetic cases. Now up to 2014, the case rose to 422 million. That is more than 4 times. Now at 2020, it is well over 500 million people around the world have diabetes. So, and the cases have been increasing annually every year. And diabetes is the cause of many disease that follows. One of it is one of the causes of diabetes is heart attacks, strokes. Then we have kidney failure, blindness, lower limb amputations. Well, these are the main diseases that come after diabetes. But this is just to name a few. There are many more that follow. So diabetic is a metabolic disease. It's a metabolic disease. So it's a metabolic disease. So what do we know? What it means by metabolic disease? So we have to conquer this disease. They say to conquer your enemy, you have to know and understand your enemy. So we have to understand diabetes to conquer diabetes. I tell you one truth about diabetes. Diabetes is not a permanent disease. It can be reversed. But in order to reverse it, we have to understand it first. That is of the highest importance. We have to know. And yet, many people with diabetes are not even educated properly on that disease. Even the health institutions are not well versed about the ability to reverse this disease. I'll tell you why later. But first, let me give you a simple explanation about what is diabetes all about. How does it come about? You see, they have done an experiment on rats and induced diabetes in rats, which means diabetes can even take place in animals. You see, why is it the incidence of diabetes is happening among us humans most of the time? I mean, you have not heard a gorilla with diabetes, or a lion with diabetes, or a elephant with diabetes. You see, so you see many human beings around the world are suffering from this disease, and it's causing a great increase in the healthcare cost worldwide. You see, and of course pharmaceutical industries have a lot to benefit from this. So what must we do to conquer this disease? First, we have to understand what is it. See, diabetes, there are 2 types. One is type 1 and type 2. So type 1, let's give an explanation. What is type 1? Type 1 diabetes is simply a condition where you must know there is a particular organ that has a particular cell that secretes an hormone known as insulin. So this organ is known as the pancreas. Okay, this is the pancreas. It's situated just below the stomach. This pancreas has a particular cell known as the beta cells. Okay, the beta cells of the islets of Langerhans. So these cells, they secrete a particular hormone known as insulin. So this insulin will cause our cells to take up sugar into the body. I'll explain in more detail on that. Okay, so what happens is, in type 1 diabetes, there is some autoimmune damage towards these cells. So these cells, they get destroyed. So when they get destroyed, the ability to produce insulin is absent. So the insulin level in the body is low, which means ability of cells to take up sugar is less. So sugar levels in the blood will go up. Okay, so that is type 1 diabetes. And another thing, type 1 diabetes make up about anyway between 7 to 8% of the world population. Okay, so it is very low incidence comparatively. Okay, so now that is type 1 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is purely metabolic, or we can say late onset diabetes, or it's caused by dietary induced. Okay, so because of, just now I gave you a case scenario where the person eats a lot of fried food, a lot of fast food, and doesn't exercise, takes a lot of processed food. He becomes what we call as insulin resistant. Once he becomes insulin resistant, insulin cannot act on the cells to take up sugar, to take up carbohydrates into the body. So I will explain to you what is insulin resistant all about. Okay, so that is about type 2 diabetes. So type 1 diabetes is purely caused by autoimmune action on the cells that produce insulin, causing damage to the cells, which is out of our control. It's beyond our control. Whereas type 2 diabetes is all our own habits, the way we eat, our sedentary lifestyle, especially when it comes to the food we eat. So that is the cause of the diabetes. Okay, so let me tell you about what is insulin resistant all about. Insulin resistance. Okay, so this is very important, and most people poorly understood this word. Even the medical fraternity doesn't explain it clearly, what is insulin resistance all about. Okay, so insulin resistance, how does it come about in our body? It is the reason why people get diabetes in the first place. So insulin resistance, let me explain to you. First, let's put it this way. Okay, here are fat cells. Okay, these are fat cells. Okay, or fats. Okay, or lipids. Okay, and here is the sugar. These are glucose. This is glucose. Okay, we consume. Okay, these are fats. This is glucose, right? So here, this is a cell membrane. This is a cell membrane here. Okay, so this is a cell membrane. So the cell membrane, okay, inside the cell membrane there is fats. So we consume foods. We take, say, a bread, piece of bread. There is sugar in that bread. So there's glucose here. So this is your blood vessel. Let's say this is your blood vessel. Okay, this is your blood vessel. Okay, your blood vessel here. Okay, so what happens is a person who takes a lot of fatty food, a lot of chocolates, candies, fried food, meat, fried chicken, fried fish, there's a lot of fats there, a lot of oil there. So what happens is fats accumulate into the cells like this. They accumulate. You see, the thing is, fats can get deposit anywhere in our body. It doesn't need any particular receptor or hormone. It just enters the cells. You see? So these fellas, they don't knock on the door. They just enter your home. You know, dirty buggers. They just simply cause accumulation in the cells. So what happens is, so now when you take something sweet, you get sugar increase in your blood. So for sugar, when sugar increases in the blood, the body says, okay, I need to take up this sugar, this glucose, it has to enter the cells. So what happens is, for sugar to enter, it needs a particular hormone, and that is insulin. Only when insulin acts, see, this is insulin hormones. So insulin comes. It knows there is a sugar increase in the blood, so insulin comes. So insulin comes, okay, it knocks on the door. It knocks on the door of the cells. I said, hello, I need to put in some glucose into the cell. I'm sorry, I'm full. I got too much of fats in the cells. So what happens is, insulin says to the glucose, no, I cannot put glucose into the cell because the cell is full. The house is already full. So what happens is, glucose has no choice but to increase into the bloodstream, to stay in the bloodstream high. So what happens is, insulin cannot act on the cells because of increased fats deposit. Glucose in the blood increases. So when you take your glucometer, you check your blood sugar, your sugar is high. Your sugar becomes high. Just because of these buggers, these fats, they don't allow glucose to enter. They cause insulin resistance. Sugar goes up. So who is the dirty fella here? Who is the culprit? Is it the fats or sugar? Who is the culprit? The notorious culprit is the fats. The fats is the cause of insulin resistance leading to diabetes. Now you might be confused. You'll be thinking, how is that fats can lead to diabetes? When people always say, oh, don't eat too much of sweets, don't take bananas, don't eat sweet oranges, don't take this and that, don't take too much of rice. But now it is the fats. The fats is the cause of insulin resistance. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not the sugar that causes diabetes, it is the fatty food, the excess fatty food, high protein diet that we eat from meat, especially meat, fried foods, processed foods, that is very rich in saturated fats, in particular saturated fats that lead to diabetes. But before you get diabetes, you will get insulin resistance first. That is how a person eventually gets diabetes. So we have to be very careful of these fats. So now we understand what is insulin resistance. Insulin resistance, I repeat again, is insulin that is secreted from the pancreas cannot act on the cells because it's been blocked by the fats that has been accumulated in the cells. Okay, so in order to, what can we do to bring down, to avoid this? If you are having a lot of insulin resistance, you have to reduce your fats. What can we do to reduce our fats? Our diet, high in vegetables, fruits, all types of fruits, grains, legumes, and most important, exercise. So this way, when we eat a lot of these foods, we reduce our fats, leading to we reduce insulin resistance, which means we can reverse the disease. We can reverse diabetes. Diabetes is not a permanent disease. You can reverse it if and only if you change your dietary lifestyles. Exercise, high in fiber food, high vegetables, high in fruits, and low in fatty, oily, processed foods. That is how we do it. All it needs, folks, is discipline. Lots and lots of discipline. We need a lot of discipline, right? So that is the understanding of diabetes, how it comes about in our body. So this is a first part video, and I will be sharing you the second part in another time. And this is to make you understand about diabetes. So when we understand about diabetes, we know what steps to take. My next video will be on the dietary. What are the dietary sources we can use to reverse this disease? What are the ways we can do to reverse this disease, so that even those of you that are having diabetes now, are on many medications, you can reduce your medication and perhaps eventually stop your medications. So let's prevent this disease and let's reverse this disease. Together we can live a healthy life. So now here I have a very simple recipe which actually is already been prepared actually. So like here I have, this is a very high nutritious food. Here I have some frozen lentils with chickpeas which I made yesterday, and I kept it frozen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have some carrots here which I've cut, and some Japanese cucumber. So as you know, as you can see here, it's all cut like this. Carrots you can cut any way you like it, just in sticks. Okay, so this is the Japanese cucumber, this is the carrot, right? So now I'm just going to, so I have some frozen lentils with chickpeas and beans. There are lima beans, there is azuki beans, and there is some mustard seeds and cumin together with it. Okay, so it's frozen, just keep it overnight frozen. And what I'm going to take it is, I'm going to take it like a dip. So this is like a dip here. So it's very nutritious, high in antioxidants, rich in protein. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to add a bit of almonds, just to add a bit of flavor and crunchiness. So okay, so that's some almonds here, just over that. And say we take this carrot and we just stick it like this. Yep, so it's very nice, I like it. So there's a lot of fiber, there's nuts, the chickpeas, the beans, and the carotene from the carrot. And you can take this cucumber and you dip it like this and just take it and eat it like that. Very simple. Just follow my recipe on the lentil, the dal, keep it frozen overnight, and you can eat it just like a dip like this. So folks, until my next video, stay tuned for the part 2 coming soon. Live healthy and live long. Take care. Bye.